Okay, hi Bradley, how you doing? I got your sketches up on one page, and I've got your final up on, or your final renditions up on the other page. So one thing I just really want to mention is that if we go over to M2 milestone 2 task 2, I'm gonna go down here and take a look at your submission, and we can see, let's just open this up. So you have just this attached are my sketches, and then we go over to your sketches and you just have your sketches. So it's a really good idea in any presentation in design to assume that, well, not to assume, but well, yeah, to assume that your viewer doesn't really have any kind of background as to what you're talking about. And I always advise students to do this because this will keep you on this kind of wavelength that your presentations are complete. Okay, and what I'm getting at is that if you were to submit your work to an art director or a creative director, keep in mind that art director has several designers that are working on different projects. So submitting a series of sketches or thumbnails isn't going to suffice. It's not going to give that creative director or that art director the background information that they need. So what I would recommend is in your presentations, either in the actual writing itself, in the presentation area, or right in the presentation, give a brief synopsis. Give us a couple of paragraphs on what it is you're doing, who is your client, and what the objectives are. So right here, you've got your objective sketches, and then you have your subjective abstract sketches. And I think they're great. I really do. I've looked at each one, and I really see potential behind each one. Now, I don't know if each one has the potential of working itself out into an effective logo or visual representation of your client. That's something that needs to be further investigated, as you have done in your milestone task 2. I'm sorry, your milestone task 3. So what looks like we had gone with protective for the objective word and adaptive. I think that is adaptive um, for your abstract word. So let's jump over to the actual digital renderings. Now, a couple of things, Al. For adaptive, I think that this is a good logo. This is a good visual representation. The only thing I think here is that these arrows changing directions are kind of adding a different type of meaning to the logo, to the visual identity itself. So what I would recommend here is just keeping your arrows straight. And this is adaptive in any direction. And it shows that Guardian is able to adapt in any direction, okay? Without these kind of weird turns that add this other alternative meaning that could be, it could be construed in other different ways. So I definitely think that it would be more beneficial now. And also take a look at where your arrows come. Okay, so that arrow should be a continuation of that arrow right there, so that they're just continuations that are coming right through it. So see how this one's pointing this way, but this one's kind of pointing this way, whereas this one is going this way over here. And do you see what I'm saying? I hope that makes sense. Let me just pull out some tools here. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Here we go. Now, if I just hang on one second. What I've done is I've just brought out my line tool here. So just kind of want to draw that line. See how if that follows that arrow, it doesn't come out on the other side of the circle evenly with that arrow right there. Conversely, if we take the tip of that and go through the arrow and follow that line, you can see that doesn't come out. So I would just make those equal, even those up the best that you can. And then this, I don't think this is working, and let me tell you why. I understand what you're saying. I understand it's protective. I think that was the word. Protective, yeah. And it makes sense. It totally makes sense that the G is encapsulated in this protective kind of this protective kind of capsule. And the problem that I'm having here is that it doesn't really make sense that these are screwed down like this. It almost looks like a submarine window or some sort of a window in a vehicle, an airplane, a submarine, or something. So it's almost counterproductive in that it's holding that G in instead of showing its protection. It's kind of isolating that G for Guardian. And I see this over here was a clever idea, the exclamation point, and it's also showing a reflection of the window. But again, if we move down to a smaller size, you can see that we lose all of that at a distance. So none of this would come through on, let's say, perhaps a business card. So what I would suggest doing here is just removing those extraneous, all those screws and that reflection there, the drop shadow and kind of that bubble effect, and just leave the G inside the circle. And I think that indicates protective as much, if not more so, more effectively than with the screws. I would also consider adding color to this. Okay, so, and then don't forget, when you submit your presentations, go ahead and let the viewer know exactly what's going on, all right? Great job. Any questions, comments, or other, please let me know. Thank you.